What's up, guys? So today I wanted to talk about something specific, not really necessarily related to anything I've spoken about before. It's more just a realization I had yesterday. I've been reading through the book You Learn by Living by Eleanor Roosevelt, and it's really good. It's got some really good life advice in there, and some of it are things that I've already, kind of learned myself through living. But in one part, she was talking about how parents need to set an example for their kids. Like if a parent says one thing and does another thing, then that kid's really not going to follow through with what the parent tells them to do. Like if a parent says stealing is wrong and then they steal, the kid's going to be like, well, stealing must not really be wrong then. You're just saying that. So I don't know what it was about this specifically that made me realize why I've had so many problems with my identity over the years. And before I say this, sometimes I upload these videos both to TikTok and to YouTube. This one is only going on YouTube because it's kind of personal and my parents follow me on TikTok. Nobody I know knows that I have this YouTube channel. I would prefer that it stay that way. I'm the product of an affair. My dad was married, cheated on his wife with my mom while his wife was 7 or 8 months pregnant. And they both have pretty different upbringings. Well, I guess they had relatively similar upbringings, but my mom, when I was growing up, was an active Baptist. I think once or twice we went to Church of Christ and maybe some other denominations, I don't know. But my dad has been atheist at least as long as I've been alive. He was in the Marines. He smoked, drank pretty often, smoked multiple things. I know he did cocaine for a little while. He might still do cocaine, I don't know. But meanwhile, my mom has some mental health issues. So she drinks sometimes, but nobody on my mom's side of the family has smoked cigarettes. Nobody, I'm sure they dabbled in weed back in the 70s or 80s, possibly 90s, but nothing like what my dad does or did. But anyways, I primarily lived with my mom, and I would go over to my dad's house. At first it was every other weekend, and we stopped for a while due to some issues, and then I started going every other weekend again sometime in middle school. But for pretty much all my life, even now, I've struggled with identity and forming my own individual personality and figuring out my own likes and dislikes and all that sort of stuff. And I never really understood why I had such a problem with that compared to most other people. And as I was reading that book by Eleanor Roosevelt, I realized part of it is probably because my parents were so different. So with my mom, I'd go to church, watch VeggieTales. We were taught not to say certain words and not to take the Lord's name in vain, quote unquote. That's not really what taking the Lord's name in vain means. I'm trying to avoid saying it because I don't know if YouTube will not recommend my video if I say GD. But and my mom's parents were even more Christian than she was. My granddad was raised in a family where they were taught that playing cards was a sin. Not gambling, playing cards, solitaire, anything like that. So that's to give you an idea of how, I don't know, fundamentalist his family was. And then I'd go over to my dad's house, and they're drinking and smoking, and there's no set bedtime. They let me watch whatever I wanted on the TV. And I don't really remember a whole lot being a kid at my dad's house. But suffice it to say, it was two very different lifestyles. So I think that's part of the reason I used to struggle, well, I still struggle with identity, because there's that Christian part of me. And then I went over to my dad's house, and one of my earlier memories with my dad was watching South Park, and he had this CD of songs from South Park. And that was some deer I just scared. One of the songs on the CD was like, Jesus and Santa were doing a duet. Just kind of a Christmas medley. And I think I remember at the time being like, oh, this is wrong. This is sacrilegious. Because I was like 8 years old and sitting in the back of my dad's sedan, trying to figure out how to cope with that, and also being a devout Christian, as devout as an 8-year-old could be. But yeah, so that, I don't know why it took so long for that to occur to me, that could be a problem in terms of forming my identity. But I think it was. Another thing along the same lines, this video's getting a little long, but my mom has always, I feel like, seen me as more of an extension of herself. And because of that, I just always struggled with forming my own identity, because I would have a new favorite band, and then she would be like, oh yeah, I love them. Yeah, they're my favorite band too. Which, you know, when you're 10 or 12 or even 13, like, oh, that's cool. My mom likes Breaking Benjamin alongside me, and she'll take me to a Breaking Benjamin concert and stuff. But after a time, you begin to realize that although she does actually like the bands, it's not coming from a place of her authentically discovering these bands like you did. She's just like, oh, you like this band? Then I like this band. Which, I don't know, it's not innately a negative thing. Like, it's hard to explain unless you've really been there yourself. But it's like, I have to form my own identity. These are the things I like. And like, even now, on the flip side, she'll find a band that she likes, or a movie that she likes, or like she recently watched A Complete Unknown, the Bob Dylan movie, and I've never liked Bob Dylan. Like, I know that's a hot take, that I appreciate what he did for music, and he does have really good songwriting abilities, and his lyrics are really clever and insightful, and we're on the same side in terms of politics, and I appreciate his legacy and what he's done for music and blah blah blah. But I just don't like his voice, and I don't like that harmonica. And I'm not gonna knock other people for liking him, but she's like, oh, I really think you'd like this movie. Like, I don't think I would like that movie, because I don't like Bob Dylan's music, and I have no interest in learning more about him. Like, and so I thought it would end there, but instead she's like, Why don't you just go watch that movie? Just go watch. I'm sure you'll like it. Like, I don't want to watch this movie, Mom. If I want to watch it, I'll watch it. But you're not going to pester me into watching it. And you saying that makes me want to watch it even less. And again, I thought that would be the end of it. But now she's like, she'll periodically send me a TikTok reel or a TikTok video or a Facebook reel or a Facebook post with Bob Dylan lyrics or even a Bob Dylan song. I'm like, hello? Do you not care? Are you not listening to me? And again, I get she just wants to share things with her son. She just wants to be close to me and have a shared experience. But listen to me. I'm not a Bob Dylan fan. Quit sending me Bob Dylan stuff. Send me stuff that we both like, yes, but I don't like Bob Dylan. It's just stupid, man. Like, that's been like an ongoing thing in my life where I'm like, this is me. This is my identity. She's like, well, I don't know. I think you really like... And just another example from this past week. I mentioned I'm starting this AIP diet, so I can't have my lemon poppy seed dressing anymore on my salads. She was like, oh, why don't you try a balsamic vinaigrette? I'm like, well, I've tried that before and I didn't really care for it. I don't really like vinegar in most stuff. She's like, well, I really like it. I'm like, okay, good. I'm glad you like it. I don't. It's like, well, you should really try it again. I don't like it. This is my life, my tastes. I don't like it. I tried it before and I didn't like it. I'm not going to try it again and suddenly like it because you told me to. Like, she's not pushy about it. She's nice, but like, I just don't get it. So, looking back on all this, it's no wonder I struggle with identity issues. Anyways, there's even more I could say about this, but I feel like this video's going on long enough. I'm bleeding from somewhere. That's not good. Yay, psoriasis. Well, thanks for watching. This video was kind of a bit more rambling than the others, I guess, but yeah. See you later.